Good morning, everyone, and welcome to episode number 49 of the Still City Insider podcast. I am one of your hosts, Jeremy Hritz, alongside Mr. Jim Wexell. Jim, how are you doing today? Christmas is this weekend.
I got my Christmas hat on. This
All
is
right.
my favorite red hat. I was going to put my red flannel shirt on, but this is from the 2008 Super Bowl, as you can see. You know,
Right.
the Cardinals were always a cool insignia, and so I'm glad they're on that. It was from 2009, February, January, whatever. And being in the media, you can't say get a Steelers hat. So it has both of them on there. A little dirty. Don't mind the dirt on the bill. I've been meaning to get that clean, but I love this hat, and it's from the last championship. And geez, sure looked like a championship performance. So how about a segue for that, huh?
I'll tell you what, the Steelers came through in a big way this past weekend, defeating the juggernaut Carolina Panthers 24-16. They got that running game going. Mitch Trubisky played mistake-free football. We're going to get into all that today. I just want to point out, Jim, we're only one episode away from number 50. Who would have thought we'd have made it this far?
We haven't made it that far yet.
True. Let's get into it then. Let's talk the game. Maybe their best performance of the season. They did the two things that they needed to do. They needed to shut down the run, and Carolina was solid at running the football, and they needed to be able to run the ball, and they did both of those things. Talk about what you saw.
It's funny how they were the hot Carolina Panthers coming in, and after the Steelers beat them, they sucked. And what's the big deal? So the Steelers stopped the run, and they were more aggressive and assertive in doing so. And they showed that on the first series. They put TJ Watt in the middle, and he blitzed up the middle. And then the second play, Terrell Edmonds blitzed, shot a gap. I can only think that everybody was thinking about that last play in the Ravens game of what they should have done, and they did that in the first series against Carolina. And all the excuses from the Ravens game. Geez, you did things a little different this time. What happened to we have to read all the options, and we had to stay back, and we had to see what they were doing, or we would have got gashed instead of just coming in against the third string reserve undrafted rookie who sucks. That Ravens game should have been a win. So anyway, we're still a little raw about that. Yeah. But yeah, it was a great performance. Trubisky played well. Deontay Johnson didn't get trapped in any of his backward maneuvers. The offensive line, great. A lot of things. Terrell Edmonds, great. Devin Bush was even assertive. A lot of things to like. So I'm not going to fall into Carolina sucked, because they sure look like they sucked.
Yeah.
But Sam Darnold was twice the quarterback of, what was that guy's name? Anthony Brown?
I think it was, yeah.
He used to pitch for Connellsville High School. Anthony Brown was a star pitcher, and I remember the coach, who was a maniac, and I loved him. They asked him, this was before they changed the pitching rules. I think Anthony Brown caused the pitching rule change. They asked him, Coach, why did you pitch Anthony Brown every game? And he said, he's not going anywhere after this. Who cares about his arm's health? So we do see where Anthony Brown went, and his arm did look sore, but he could run a little bit.
He could. And looking at that.
I'm sorry, I got way off track. You got to run this show, Jeremy. Don't let me do this stuff.
Hey, this is a team. This is a team effort. I want to spend a little time talking about the Steelers' run defense. They held the Panthers at 21 yards, 1.3 yards per carry. But Carolina only ran the ball 16 times. So I want to ask this question. Was the strength against the run, was it more of the Steelers' performance, or did the Panthers just give up on it too soon?
I think it's both. And, an X's and O's guy would be better equipped to answer this. And D.I. Davis, he writes a great X's and O's column. It'll come out in a couple of days. I was working on Wolfley's column before you rang me, and that's why I was a little late. Wolfley's column was getting me all jacked up. He was getting into the good barbecue down there. So you know how Wolfley gets going on that. But they were aggressive on that first drive, right? And Carolina wasn't doing anything. And then the Steelers scored. That put Carolina behind. So two things were going on. Nobody had stopped Carolina's run game as the Steelers had on that first possession, and then the Steelers took the lead. I think Carolina hadn't been used to dealing with a lack of success in their recent run with their new coach and their new ideas and their offensive guard playing fullback and their offensive tackle playing tight end and all kind of good things. They were unsuccessful. So I don't think they knew how to deal with that. Maybe next game they'll see that we can't be talked out of this stuff. But I think the Steelers definitely talked them out of it. Darnold was play actioning and passing, and that's what you want.
Yeah.
Exactly what you want. A guy that holds the ball that long for your pass rushers and the homecoming for a couple of guys. And I think it was a combination of a lot of things. And I think Carolina learned, and next time they won't be talked out of it. They'll stick with what they do because they're still pretty good at what they do.
Yeah. I thought there, and just talking about Sam Darnold, I know later in the game they started to get to him, to get the pressure, brought him down a few times, but he hit some big passes there earlier in that contest. One on James Pierre, where he let the receiver get behind him for a big reception. And I forget the other couple of passes, but I think this game, even though they won, and this is not to downgrade that secondary, but they still are in need of a corner this offseason. And I think this game, more evidence of that.
Well, they gave them the pass game, and that's part of talking them out of their running game. Yeah, they gave them the pass game, and yeah, the Steelers could use a shutdown guy. I mean, when you're going a single high safety, Terrell Edmonds is playing the run up there. There are more openings if you don't have that shutdown guy.
Yeah. And then if we look at the stable of Steelers running backs, nice output once again. Najee Harris, 24 carries, 86 yards. Again, looking healthy. Jaylen Warren, 11 carries, 38 yards. Canada couldn't help himself on those jet sweeps he ran to Steven Sims, but the running game looked productive again. And you pointed out Dan Moore and Kevin Dotson, the left side of that offensive line, they had a nice output.
Especially early. And didn't Najee look like Jaylen Warren getting outside?
Yeah.
You think to yourself, oh, there's Warren. Oh, no, that's Najee. No? Okay. Am I the only one? All right. Yeah, so I was a little surprised that Najee had such a poor average. So there was a lot of unsuccess. That's a word. Yeah, good for Najee. The line, I liked what the line did. And, Carolina came into the game allowing 5.2 per carry in their last 5. So that's a weak run defense.
Yeah. And then in terms of the receivers, you mentioned Deontay Johnson. He had a nice showing, did not run backwards too much.
He ran backwards.
He did, but he didn't get tackled backwards. So, but he made some plays this week. And then that reception by George Pickens down the sidelines, his body control and focus and concentration, his hands just up in the air waiting for the ball. This kid's special. He really is.
Well, okay. Keep working on getting open. I know that the cornerback that he torched on that play wasn't all enamored of Pickens. He had a quote and said it wasn't that good. But I mean, well, he caught 2 out of 5 targets. How good is that?
Yeah.
Let's get open. Everything's a combat catch for him.
Right.
I know you can get open. I think that'll come in the second year.
Yeah. And no receptions by Pat Freiermuth. What's up with that?
Well, I do know he's hurting. And, Trubisky's coming off a 3 interception game. Weren't 2 of those throws to Freiermuth, as you like to say?
Do I mispronounce it? Is it Fryer?
I think it's Freiermuth. Maybe you're the one's right and I'm wrong. I just think it's Freiermuth. But hey, between you mispronouncing it and Wolfley spelling it wrong, we're Steel City Insiders, a collaborative effort on the dude. At least we get Pat right.
Right. Well, that's like Anthony Weedle and Whittle, that whole conversation from this past summer.
I can't even remember him.
Yeah. So before we talk about the defensive side of football, I did want to just spend a few moments, and you're probably going to be like, I don't want to talk about that. But I
don't want to talk about what the quarterback.
No, I have to bring up the special teams penalty on Marcus Allen.
Oh, yeah, sure. Absolutely.
What in the world was that?
I mean, you were surprised when you looked at the replay and saw that it was number 27?
I wasn't surprised, but what in the hell is he thinking?
What does he ever think? that guy has never been a thinker. You know, I tweeted that, you know, he should find another way home, but that's not going to be Tomlin's, and it's going to be it's going to be a week-long discussion of culture and under Tomlin. He's not going to cut the guy right now. He's not going to. I don't think he's going to deactivate him. Yeah. Right now, you're going to get the best Marcus Allen you've ever had, and you know about stocks. I mean, do you sell a stock when it's at this low point? No. There's a reason you bought the stock. I mean, you could be wrong. It could go lower, but there has to be a reason you bought the stock. You got to think, well, I'm going to get at least his last 3 best efforts out of 3 good days out of this stock, and then I'm going to sell it. So, I mean, he's not going to do anything stupid again, is he? I mean, I'll bet that he won't. I'm not a big Marcus Allen bettor. I don't, but I think you're going to get his best 3 efforts, and his mouth will be shut and things like that. And so they're not going to cut him now. Or why did you have him to begin with? Because he's been a loudmouth idiot for a long time, and now he's going to come looking for me in the locker room. But I mean, when doesn't he? He's always turning the music up and daring reporters to get upset. His entire team, everybody used to tell him to turn the music off. I suppose now we'll have a quiet locker room for the next 3 weeks until he finishes his great career. Well, of course, it was the dumbest thing we've ever seen, right? I mean, first they go, there's a flag down TV. I wasn't in Charlotte. There's a flag down, and they're showing Hayward and TJ on the bench looking over their tablets, right? So you're saying, oh, this flag can't be against the Steelers because look, Cam and TJ are already on the bench looking through and then they show the Carolina huddle with Marcus Allen doing whatever he was doing.
And I want to know. I really want to know what was he did, like, what was his purpose? What was his intent? Is his cousin play for the other team?
Well, let me say,
hey, Merry Christmas.
Let me just say that for the first time in 5 years since I asked him, did they just move you to inside linebacker? And that threw him. He was talking to Jerry Olszewski in the locker room. He was drafted as a safety, right? In the middle of his rookie year, he's starting to meet with Jerry Olszewski. And I went up to him. I said, why were you talking to Jerry? Are you now an inside linebacker? And he's like, I can't talk about it. Because, I mean, he didn't know what he could say. He was a 5th-round pick, a rookie. And then he became an inside linebacker, but he wouldn't confirm it with me.
Yeah.
That's the last time I've talked to him. That was 5 years ago. And so now I'm going to talk to him again. And I imagine I won't be the only one. That'll be Wednesday.
I can't wait to hear that story.
I want to know what he said.
I do too.
But he's not going to tell us, of course.
And it's like, too, it's like you're a 5-8 football team. Like, what? I don't see what any purpose or there's just no logic. It's illogical.
I mean, they're not going to think about their records. I mean, they're emotional. He's an emotional player. Probably helps him on special teams.
That's true.
Tomlin seems to like his energy, and I guarantee you, Tomlin's not ripping him today, and it'll be handled privately. And everybody will say, "Well, that's Tomlin." Cowher would have ripped. No, Cowher always. Excuse me. Cowher always handled it privately. I mean, he chewed him out on the sideline.
Yeah.
But Cowher handled that stuff privately, and you're not going to get a human sacrifice at the press conference today, and that's what the city of Pittsburgh wants.
I don't need that. I'm really curious. First of all, I thought it was stupid. No question, but I'm curious of what his intent was and what he said. And I get the whole passion and everything, but I wish I was a fly on the wall. What was so
He said, watch me convert this 4th and 27 for you.
Merry Christmas. Yeah. Oh, my. All right, let's wrap this up. Just taking a look at the defensive players. Nice.
What about quarterback? I mean, that's always interesting.
I mean,
where do we go from quarterback? You know, where do you want to see? Who do you want to see? If Trubisky's, if Pickett's healthy, what do you want to do?
You got to go to Kenny. Kenny's the future of this team. I think Mitch, maybe you do keep Mitch around next year as your backup. I mean, if he has, I know they showed a moment where Kenny Pickett was congratulating him on the sideline after, I think, his touchdown run. And then they tweeted out something brotherhood. Maybe those guys have a connection, and maybe he is somebody to keep around long term as the number 2. But heading into Saturday's game, which is a huge game, by the way, just because of the regalia behind it, I think you got to start Kenny if he's ready to go. He's your future.
Okay, well, Mike Tomlin is like Bill Cowher, is like Chuck Noll, in that they're going to fight. They're going to fight their ass off for today.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're not mathematically eliminated, and they're going to play for today. And my gut tells me Trubisky gives them the best chance to win. I mean, playing Kenny Pickett for next year, they've already played. He's played enough. He's got a taste. But if Kenny gives you the best chance, which you can talk me into that, I don't know enough.
I think he does.
Well, coming off Trubisky's game, I was a little impressed with him for the moment. And if Kenny's not cleared, that was a second concussion. I can be talked into either one, really, by someone who's in the know, who knows what's going on, knows what Kenny knows, and knows what they had to do with Trubisky, who gives them a better chance. Whoever gives them a better chance to beat the Raiders. I know it doesn't matter to most people, but I think there's still a 0.02% chance they can make the playoffs.
It's going to be.
Tomlin cannot quit on that 0.02%.
Yeah.
He cannot.
Yeah. They've
got to play the best chance to win. And I will be one of 10 people at the stadium that night. And I am still hoping for them to get 7.5 wins.
They're close. I mean, it would be just like a Tomlin team for them to win out and not make the postseason.
Well, I don't know about not making the postseason. The Steelers, they have a history of pulling out these 0.02% chance of making the playoff gambits. You win out and all of a sudden, oh man, you're playing the Chiefs in the first round in Kansas City. Yeah. Oh, you're going to Buffalo? Isn't that great? Or is it?
Yeah.
They're not ready. They're not in that league yet.
No.
They're the 82 Bears. That's my thing with McMahon. And now that Pickett's getting hurt kind of routinely, he does fit the McMahon profile even more so.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not ready for the postseason. I think we're seeing the development of players that we need to see the development of. I think this is they're not going to come out and say it, but they're evaluating the talent for next year. They're looking at who fits with where they're going. I think they have a lot of the pieces. I don't think they're as far away as a lot of people think they are. They're going to try to win, but I think we've seen growth from this team from week 1 up until this point. And
yeah, I think they've found their first cut in the offseason.
Matt Canada.
No, I mean, why would they cut Matt Canada after an impressive performance? The offense is looking good, even with a slow plow horse as a running back. What don't you like about Canada?
The offense, there is no rhythm to that offense. It doesn't look like it's conceptual. It just looks like, hey, let's run this.
If you say so.
Anyway, Raiders this weekend, big game.
No, I was talking about Marcus Allen. Anyway.
Oh, you're talking.
Yeah, I think, if they are evaluating talent, I think they might have found one who's going to go.
Yes. Yeah. I think that's probably more.
I do think his contract is up.
Okay. Yeah.
And they're not going to sacrifice him on TV today, though.
Got it. That's right. Tomlin Tuesday press conference coming up here pretty soon. Any thoughts this weekend for the Raiders game, Jim?
No, I mean, it's Christmas Eve. It'll be late night, and I got nothing to do. So I'm going to go Christmas it up with the other 10 people in Pittsburgh. And I hope there's some real old school Raiders Steelers fireworks that happen.
Yeah, that would be pretty fantastic for the holiday season.
Roll out a ball from the sideline that says "You suck" on it. I actually said something else. If you remember that game, I got to look more into that. I do the trivia questions. What was on the ball that was rolled out? I think it was like "You are fecal matter."
Yeah. Okay.
And Webster got the ball and said, "We gave it to the ref. What's this?" But
Oh.
those are old Raiders Steelers stuff, and maybe we'll see some of that. And maybe they can beat Derek Carr for once.
That would be a nice early Christmas gift. And that's going to do it for episode number 49. Who knows? Maybe we will make it to 50 next week. But everybody, thank you so much for watching, for supporting us. Don't forget about the Alan Faneca episode that we did last week, having a Hall of Famer on the show, Super Bowl winner. It was great to hear him talk about his battle against epilepsy and the Steps Towards Zero campaign. Check that out. I'll link that in the show notes for everyone. Check out Jim's work at the Still City Insider. Give him a follow on Twitter at Jim Wexell. You can check out my work at thestillstudy.com and give me a follow on Twitter at stillstudy. Jim, anything you want to say?
Just have a Merry Christmas. Happy holidays to everybody.
All right. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, and we will see you after the Steelers get their next victory against the Las Vegas Raiders. Take care, everyone.